How's it going, YouTube? Nitro here. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. And this is my first Airsoft video. And it's going to be a little bit longer than my previous videos. I try to keep my other videos like 15 minutes and below-ish. Somewhere around there, just so that it's not tedious to watch. But Airsoft is just such a time-consuming game that it's really difficult for me to keep it short. I edit it out as much as I can, like me walking back to respawn, boring segments. I cut out the first like 3 minutes of this game here so that, because it was really me and my friend up here just kind of walking for the first 3 to 5 minutes. And this gameplay isn't really all that exciting, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take this video to introduce anyone who doesn't know what it is to Airsoft, because a lot of people don't know what Airsoft is. And a lot of people will just say, oh, it's just like paintball. Well, it's not. It's saying Airsoft is like paintball is saying Battlefield is the same game as Call of Duty, for you gamers out there. They're two entirely different games that attract two entirely different crowds with entirely different purposes behind them. Now, what Airsoft is it's meant to be realistic, tactical, slow-paced depending on where you're playing. I'm playing outdoors here at my team's home field. So it's going to be a little bit slower paced. That's why I'm not really putting too much emphasis on the gameplay right now, and I'm focusing more on other things. Although I will let you know what's going on in the gameplay. This game that we're playing here is a one-sided capture the flag, and I'm on the attacking team. In the center of this field there is a large hill. And at the top of this hill, there is a flag that is waiting. And the enemy team has to defend that flag, while my team is trying to capture it and bring it back to our base near the bottom of that hill. This hill is extremely defensible and hard to take. But most of this match was just me walking around. I do get some action footage, which you guys will see. Wouldn't edit that out, that's the fun part. But anyway, back on track. Airsoft, I get taken out right here and start the long trek back to respawn, but it's not very long for you guys. But Airsoft it's more realistic. I mean, obviously BBs aren't gonna fly like bullets, but it's more realistic than paintball. That's pretty much the most I can say. And I'm not knocking paintball at all. I understand some people prefer paintball. Paintball isn't on the honor system like Airsoft is. Airsoft is heavily reliant on people's honor while they're playing, because there's no mark when you hit them. You're shooting plastic BBs. They don't explode, they don't leave marks, they don't spray paint like paintballs do. So it's up to the player that you shot to call their own hit effectively, or maybe if there's a ref standing next to them. But more often than not, it's going to be down to the player that you shot. Is he honorable or is he not honorable? And the majority of players you find are honorable. If they get hit, they will call their hit and they will go back to respawn, leave the field, whatever the rules of the match state. But you do get some people that just don't call their hits. And the way I deal with those people is I just keep shooting them, because eventually it's going to hurt enough to where they're not going to want to stand there anymore, and they're just going to want to go back to respawn. That's my philosophy behind it. It hasn't failed me yet, so I'll just keep going. If you don't call your hits, you deserve to get shot more. And you can't call it overshooting because they didn't call their hit. There's nothing else to it, really. But airsoft, what airsoft comes down to is integrity amongst the players, teamwork on both sides, and a lot of cool looking guns. That's one of the main reasons why I prefer airsoft over paintball, is that I like the way that the guns look more realistic. Like, I just like that a lot. And I understand paintball is trying to migrate their way over to more realistic looking guns, but it's just not to the point that airsoft is. Like, if there's a real gun in the world, they make an airsoft version of it. There has yet to be a weapon in real life that I have heard of that has not been transferred into an airsoft gun. And that's 50 cals, miniguns, Barrett 50 cal, 30 caliber machine guns, Desert Eagle, the craziest stuff you can imagine. They have it. Rocket launchers, undermounted grenade launchers, handguns, rifles, everything. If it exists in real life, it exists in airsoft, and that's one of the reasons why I like airsoft, just because it's so intense when it comes to that. And there are many different types of airsofters as well. There are the casual players, like me and my team. We're relatively casual. We're not as casual as some people that come with jeans and a t-shirt and a gun and just come to play to have a good time. And there's nothing wrong with those people. Like, what it boils down to is airsoft is a game, and games are meant to be fun for everybody. We do our best at Warzone to try and keep the teams even. We usually split up the experienced players and the non-experienced players so that each team has a balanced amount of experience on it, just so that one team doesn't just steamroll over the other one, because we want everyone to have a good time, and getting steamrolled is not a good time. So there are the casual players, and then there are the milsim players. Milsim it's short for military simulation, where they go out there in full gear, full like United States military gear. The only difference is that the magazines are holding BBs instead of bullets, and they make it as realistic as they can get. Helicopters, boats, trucks, tanks. It's ridiculous, and it looks like a lot of fun, but my team isn't nationally ranked, so I'm not able to attend any of those large milsim events like Operation Lion Claw and that kind of thing. But we do go to other fields events that aren't necessarily milsim, but they are. It's basically just we're playing, but there's a story behind what we're doing. Someone writes a story, and that's what we're playing to. And that's what we like to do. You know, we like to travel. We like to spread our team's influence all over the place, and we're generally well accepted just about everywhere we go. Except by a few teams. You know, there are always going to be people that don't like you. But we do our best to try and be the nice guys on the field, the honorable players, and guys that you would just want to play with again. Like, that's what Chaos Theory intends to do. And that's what we reflect on the new players that come to our field. So now, more into what's going on in this gameplay a little bit. They still have the flag. We haven't even touched it yet. And what I'm doing here is pushing up the right side of this hill, because there's actually a nice little blind spot on the right side of this hill that that if you can sneak up it without being noticed, if you can get to it without being noticed, the enemy will not see you coming up the hill. And that's just something I've learned from playing at this field for over 2 years. Excuse me. I had to sneeze there, but and what I'm trying to do is, my teammates are to the right of me and behind me at this specific point, I believe. At least I think they're there. I'm almost certain they're there. And there's actually another blind spot to my left going straight up the center that I believe I have teammates pushing up there too. What I'm trying to do is trying to get their fire on me. Like, I'm a one-man distraction team in this scenario, because I'm sprinting up here and I'm trying to draw attention to myself so that my teammates can sneak up there. Like you can see them, I just looked at one of my teammates on the right. He made it to the top of the hill. And that's because they weren't paying attention to that side as much as they were paying attention to me, because I was the immediate threat. And that's a big part of Airsoft. Mind games are a very large part of what you need to do. And that's why the tactics are so important. Like, we have people going all the way around the back of the hill right now to try and put pressure on another side. We did our best to make sure that their defenses are as spread out as they can. And with that, we can kind of push our forces heavily up one side, which is what this right side is doing. We're trying to get as many guys up here as possible so that we can just kind of push through them, break the defenses, grab the flag, and run it back down the hill. I believe right up here I get taken out. My teammate gets hit there, but I have no idea where it came from. Okay, maybe I don't die here. But I actually thought I heard fire behind me, and I thought he got hit from behind, so that's why I turned around and I'm watching this angle here. And I don't really see anybody. I assumed it was teammates shooting, I guess, so I go back to watching what's in front of me. Now, on another note, I know that a lot of the action is blocked by trees and such just because the camera is attached to the left side of my head. And I'm right-handed, so I'll lean around the right side of trees, which lines the camera up perfectly with the tree. And this is the first video I've ever recorded with my contour camera, so I'm still learning how to use it properly and all that stuff. So I'm gonna try putting it on the right side of my head next time I record, so that you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit more. And I'm not going to be able to get a gun cam. I simply don't have the money to buy another contour to put on the end of my gun. Right there I got hit in the face, and you saw my finger go over the lens. I was checking it for cracks, and thank God it didn't get hit. That's an expensive camera. But, you know, it's out in the field. Hopefully it's powerful enough to take a hit and not completely shatter, but, you know, I'd still rather it not happen. Anyway, I went back to respawn, and we decided as a team to try and go around the left side again, just like you saw me doing in the beginning of the video. And I sent a few guys back up to the right side where I just was. And me and a few other guys, oh, excuse me, but me and a few other guys are going around this left side, try and sneak up behind them again, because if you follow the field boundary around this way that we're going, you can basically come up behind them at the hill that they're defending, which would have been the ideal situation, but since when does all go to plan, right? But anyway, this is, like I said, it's a lot of walking. And I really wanted to take this video more to talk about Airsoft as a game than to commentate on this gameplay, because this gameplay isn't all that exciting, and I just want to introduce my subscribers who don't really know what Airsoft is, or who may not know what Airsoft is, to Airsoft so they can understand what's going on, and they don't just see a bunch of people running around with guns shooting each other. Which, what it boils down to is that's what it is. But there's an honor element behind the game. There's a strategy element in the game. Just like with any other game, you know, everything has its mechanics. Everything has its source of strategy and what you like, fundamentals. That's the word I was looking for. Everything does. Paintball, Airsoft, video games, Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike has a lot of mechanics, and I'm still learning all of those. But you know, even though, for those of you that look at Call of Duty like it's a mindless run around and shoot people game, which it can be. And if that's the way you play, hey, that's the way you play. Just have fun with your game, man. I'm not going to discriminate against anyone because of the game they play or how they play it. You bought the game, and you can play it however you want. It's your money spent on it. I'm not going to tell you how to use your property. You know, yeah, it might annoy me a little bit that you're using an overpowered weapon, but you have all the rights in the world to do so because it's in the game. You paid for the game, so you have rights to everything that's in the game. But that's a completely different story. Back on track with Airsoft here is we're moving up this road. I don't like being on the roads. In fact, the only reason I'm traveling on the road right now is because I have a new player that's following behind me, so I'm leading him up the most beaten path I can find. And I hate being on roads just because they're open. You never know which tree someone's going to be hiding behind. And you're just standing out there in the open with no cover, and it's just the easiest thing in the world for them to just pop out from behind the tree and take you out. Alright, here we run into some trouble with the same guys that took me out at the beginning of the game. I get hit there, and I don't really... Like, it's a long walk back to respawn. It's a very long walk back to respawn. So I'll just cut it out. And this is a few minutes after I respawn, because once I hit the respawn wall, I just kind of stand around for a little bit trying to plan my next move. So right here, I'm trying to push back up the right side of the hill where I was before. And because we had the most luck on this side. They weren't really covering the right side very well. So I'm just here running from tree to tree, trying not to get hit. Trying not to get spotted more than anything. And again, the tree is in your way. I know that. I didn't realize it until after I went back and watched the video. Now, this clip right here is a good opportunity to bring up a large point. One of the biggest advantages in Airsoft is the uphill advantage. If you have the high ground, your enemy is going to have to fight uphill, whereas you have to fight downhill. Gravity carries your BBs farther, faster, so you can hit them before they can hit you. You can see them before they can see you, because you're looking down at an open area while they're looking up at a cliff face. And during this time of day, the sun just is blinding when you try and look up that hill. With the way this hill is positioned and the way the sun was moving at this time of day, this is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon when this was being filmed. So the sun is at some of its brightest, and it's just ridiculous trying to look up that hill. I have a tinted lens, a black tinted lens on my goggles, and it's still blinding trying to look up this hill. But anyway, I'm doing my best trying to push up here. It's getting close to the end of the game now. This match was timed for 45 minutes. It only went on for 30 minutes, which is a good thing. My team successfully took this hill in 30 minutes, which is a feat. It's a feat to be recognized. I cut this video down because half hour is too long. I get taken out right here, but I'm not following suit with the rest of the video where I cut out my time back to respawn. Right around here, my team grabs the flag. You can see the guy running down the hill there with the flag. Teammates covering him, and he's booking it, man. People are shooting at him. He's doing his very best to try and make it down. So I decide I'm going to try and sprint back to respawn so that I can get back in the game and try and do something productive. But by the time I get there, the flag is pretty much all the way there. He goes for the wrong bunker there. He went for the wrong house. But I come back in and I respawn. It's a little bit too late, but you know, we got the flag. We win. Nice victory yell there. And he needs to take a break because he sprinted uphill then sprinted back downhill as fast as he could. And he deserves a break. But anyway, that's my 2 cents about Airsoft. This is my first Airsoft video. There's definitely going to be a lot more to come. A lot more from the other guys in Chaos Theory. And subscribe for more. This is Nitro, signing off.